My people, where you at? Where you at? Wake up from your slumber, stop sleeping. Whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your. Come on, come on, come on. I know you're sleeping now. You gotta whip us more, yeah? Okay, let's.
We are here this morning at downtown Waterside. What you see here is a lot of plastic bags. There happens to be a day collection of plastic bags. And you can see some people out there trying to clean the plastic bag. But this accumulation per day, it amounts to so much ton of plastic bag a week, a month, and a year. So what our concern here is about is where does this stop? Because when this is accumulated, they send it to a polling station and it stays there for months or years. It has to stop at some point in time. And this is the issue that we are concerned about from the African Environmental Watch and the Coalition for Partnership Organization to see and also talk with the government and the municipality involved that there has to be a stop to this. This is health hazard. It's a public health threat to our people. Here at the Waterside Market, and we are looking at this trash. On regular day, there is a market area. We have over thousands of people situated here selling their market for their livelihood. And many of them spend over 8 hours to 10 hours a day in the trash. So can you imagine somebody, especially a mother with a child, in the trash selling for 8-10 hours, and they have to deal with the garbage? The trash that are here, they feel, they smell for so long, for 6 days a week, for a month, for a year. Can you imagine the impact they have hazard? And we are going to other places so that you will be able to see what the people are facing. This is a travesty. You have to come to the aid. The African Environmental Watch and the Coalition for Partnership Organization, we are willing to provide the expertise. If only the government would open their arms, especially the EP, the Moral City Corporation, the Peansville City Corporation. This is a tragedy. Look at the trash, and what you see here is most of what you see here is plastic bags, which is quite, not biodegradable. It is hassle. As I stand here now, I'm smelling the film and the smell from the trash. But I can't put my mask on now because you will not hear me. But this is why it is. This is why it is, people, to the world. We ask you for help. This is killing our people. And no one can live through this. It is a living hell. And only your help can save us from this. Thank you.
So also, the particular day, when it be here, until the new year, I will not be happy for my own government. And I'm a governmental man. They call me my family, also President Frank. Me and Mary Brown, to all the way here, come down here, Mary Brown say no. You cannot come to Africa until all of. So at the end of the day, up to now, the judge are going up and down. Number 6, Shabia. They call the woman Tony. Number brother, which is Papi. The one with finance. That brave fellow. Papi Blika. So for that issue, I will tell you before New Year, when they did not move from here.
We don't eat in peace. We don't move in peace. Movement is reduced. You don't come from your store and go to your friends so easily. It makes the walking long. I think you can see the road is closing. The road leading from the warehouse where the goods can come from. The jet is blocking the road. How do we sell?
How long has it been here?
Long time, for the past 4 to 5 months. They are not be taking the debt. We even met Honorable Solomon George. We wrote him that he need to come to our aid. If you see the debt, we are tired of this. Every day we can talk to Koji, talk on radios to see to it that he help us. But I don't think he is helping us.
So ladies and gentlemen, we are on the West Point Beach, and the topic of today, as we capture up there, is how the marine environment is being affected due to pollution, the trash that we're generating here, and the erosion affecting the coastal community, as already said it. And what happened here is that when the trash get into the ocean, they're going to affect the marine life. And when we consume the marine, which is the fish, and all that, then we're going to get sick because most of the things are chemical waste. You have a lot of hazardous chemical substances in these things. And we are seeing that the erosion is eating the air. So a lot of chemicals have been here for almost 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. So as the sea bombard the place, things get exploded and they get into the ocean and eventually they go into the fish. So what we are doing here is that anything that we release into the environment come back to us directly or indirectly, and that means all the trash we put in the ocean will come back to us through the fish that we eat, and that will not be healthy. So the second thing we're discussing is the IUU fishing that is affecting the coastal community, right? We see most of the boats are parked over there. And so what happening is that when our people go fishing, they're not catching a lot of fish because of these huge Chinese, European, Asian vessels are doing a lot of illegal fishing. And so it's having environmental impact. Our people are not getting jobs, women are out of contract, we don't have enough fish in the market. And so the IUU fishing is a serious crisis, while at the same time the debt too is impacting the marine environment. What is your name?
Emmanuel.
And how are you? Are you a crew or Fanti? Crew. Okay. So you think what can we do, or what can the government do, what can international community do to stop the IUU fishing, so that more fish can remain for your children that will come?
Only the government to help either the navies check on the coast now.
Yeah,
to help us because both always come in the country. Only call fishing or neta and they go back to the country there.
Do they only do illegal fishing, or do they encourage other people to shoot the shark and take the wing or something like that? They do that.
Always do. Because the win, that value, the winner.
The money.
Money by itself.
Yeah.
The shark win, and money by itself.
So they can get your gun to go and shoot the shark.
They get people where they use.
But not you. But because you using Kino. Okay, thank you.
For Environmental Watch and the Coalition for Partnership Organization, we are here to see how we can help the situation. So this documentary is just an assessment of how we can come up with some idea, a plan of action that is sustainable to help the situation here in Liberia. But especially when the people are when they are now arriving in Liberia for the bicentennial celebration, this kind of image does not stand well for us as a nation. And there has to be something that we must all put together and do. Mary Bro is basic, she's helping to clean the trash, but it's so much. Mary Bro can only do so much. And I think this is a platform where we can appeal to the government, especially the president, to multiply his effort, to put in place a permanent task force, at least until the city or the country is clean, that will be focused on the garbage collection in the country. It is massive. It is not good for businesses. It is not good for any human being to live in the kind of condition. This is just an example, folks. You find this all over in Monrovia, in Pinsway, and other places, and it's very scary. Your support is all we need. I appeal to the diaspora community in the U.S., in Europe, and all over the world that we got to come together and help the government. This is too much. We cannot sit by and continue to complain. We have to put our hands together. We have to put our resources together and help the government. And we are ready and prepared to take that challenge. The Africa Environmental Watch and the Coalition for Partnership Organization is ready to clean the trash not only in this environment, but also other areas in the country. Because when our country gets clean, we attract more businesses, our youth gets educated, our youth stay in good health, and it is all for the betterment of our people. So thank you very much. Please take this very...
The PhD in Monrovia, Liberia. This is a hazardous waste chemical waste that moving into the marine environment. And as a marine jurist and a man in the marine environment, we see as a threat to human life, human existence, and to public health. Because PHP poses a serious environmental risk to the life of Liberians and other people consuming the marine species in the ocean. And the reason for the argument is that all the chemical in this water, the water is extremely black, and the reason the water is black is because of the
the chemical flowing around the cities from different prep lines and coming here as a dump. All the chemical waste are, number one, harming the entire population around here. Number two, most of the species in the water have been wiped out. They are there because the water is extremely dangerous for public health. So all the chemicals in here and all the material waste here are moving into the sea. You are seeing over there, there's the ocean. So you tell me what's going to happen to the fish that are breeding around here, or the marine species that are breeding around here in the coastal water? And what happened to the health of the coastal community, the people that live here? They all, are one way or the other, been affected many years ago. And in finding a solution, we cannot find a solution without identifying the problem. So the second thing is the debt. All the debt also pose a threat to the marine environment. All the debt pose a threat to the marine environment, folks. When you combine it there with the black water, with a chemical waste, then you have a problem. Then you have a bigger problem. But the reason we are here is because we want to show the whole picture the way it is. We don't want to say the people say, we are saying it is done, and there's a video. You are seeing it for yourself. So you see the water running into the ocean? So there is what we call land-based pollution, as provided under Article 207, Article 207 of the 1982 Law of the Sea Convention. And so the sea here is being affected by the pollution from the land. Most of the things are chemical, and they're moving into the ocean.
Even though the Gorbachev market have been relocated, but yet the trash remains. And this trash stretches at 5 or more a mile. And it's not good for the people. And so, again, it stresses the point with respect to the public health threat that is going through. So this is the community. We're going to walk through it, the trash. You can see for yourself that this trash stretches as far up. Now remember, they moved the market here from here to the new place, but yet the trash remains. So the trash here plus the one to the new market adds it up, so that again they speak to the issue of concern that garbage is all over in Liberia. It appears to be a normal life, but it's not good for public health. Businesses are suffering because of this, and no business can thrive in a sort of a dirty community like this kind. And so this is it here in Gorbachev Market. We are walking through our health. We want to do something about the trash. We want to keep Liberia clean, so that Liberia can be among the at least environmental friendly countries. This is serious. This is not about politics, but this is about the reality of the issue on the ground. For the well-being of our people. Look at the people that live in this trash. They treat it as if it is normal. It is a normal life. It is not. And also the help from the government, and also to our Liberians, in the diaspora. Let's find some way so we can help our country deal with a massive trash crisis. It is killing our people. Someone has to talk for them, and we are here. We are here to talk.
There is a lady who sells not too far from the garbage, and you know that we've been talking about it. As an environmentalist, you know the effect that this brings to the people who sell around here and the kind of food they eat, and the garbage stuff out here. We just want to find out from her quickly what exactly she makes of this. How you doing, man?
I'm fine.
You're okay?
Yeah.
You always sell here?
Yeah.
You get telling what your name, maybe?
My name is Egna Kepa.
Egna Kepa.
Yeah.
How long you been selling right out here?
Oh, I've been selling over 15 years.
Over 15 years now?
Yeah.
So meaning this deck thing is not something new to you?
No. The guy always here. In fact, the other one on the other side there, before we get to the police station, he was the one that paid money to PCC to come and remove the trash.
You marketers have to pay money to the Peaceville City Corporation?
Yes, to pay money.
To remove the garbage?
To remove the trash.
So it's...
Even the people that are wasting it, but we all selling them.
So it's just looking normal now?
It's not normal because when they drive there, they put expect with the market here to pay PCC to come and remove the trash. So we're really suffering.
Do you people get concerned sometimes about health issues?
Oh yes.
When you sit here, you smell the garbage throughout the day?
Yes. We feel hard. Especially the way we selling food store, then the dead still. So yeah, on the way to the police station.
This sister is just here to buy something to take it home to.
Yes.
And people come here every time to buy your food stuff. They care less about the environment.
We environment. Yeah, they sit down, Friday we pay money for the other one. We are one step for money together. Because we call upon the government, nobody tell us to try and remove the debt from us.
So you mentioned about Kadiatu Kamara, you see a lot of us right here, and I think Flash here are also having a conversation with you maybe. Yes. And they come here too close to you. And you see, you said not too far from the gate. Yeah. Aren't you afraid that you may get sick after sitting here for a long time?
Yeah, they're giving a hard time. Oh, they were saying that here. The last small flour, the things many. The board can take it in the community. They can't do say no thought they can force us.
So most of the dirt from the community, then people collect it from the various communities and bring it outside.
Yes.
Because there's nowhere the community people don't have a place to dump the garbage.
Yes.
But you as a human being, you know, is this the only place you have to sell? Must you sit here to sell? Given that this thing may make you sick.
The time my sister will put in here, my sister will put in the here. They play will clean.
So that this is a shop?
Yes.
All right.
Because Sunday, we're not open.
So during normal market days, you sell in the shop?
Yeah.
But because it's Sunday, that's why you're sitting out here?
Yeah.
But the smell here, it troubles you a lot?
Yeah.
What do you do sometimes to clean the garbage? The way you're looking at it, what do you do sometimes to take care of?
They can come here, they tell us they can't take it there, they can't take it. Almost 3 months now, or 4 months. They're there.
So there's a marine environment when it comes to the land-based pollution again. There's the Gabriel Tucker Bridge, and what happened is that the mangrove swamp, due to the climate change, the mangrove swamp is being wiped out gradually. People are cutting the mangrove swamp down, which of course is in contravention of the marine environment, protecting our species. So we are saying will be affecting our health. I will consume the fish from here. So what happening is that the more we cut the mangrove swamp down, the more we create heat, because the mangrove swamp helps to create to clean the air and create something we call evaporation in the atmosphere for our breathing system, right? And so the more we go with decrease in mangrove swamp, the more we get bad air in the system. And so all the things that are interrelated. The mangrove swamp is very important for our breath, for cleaning the atmosphere. You know, all the industry in Europe and Asia, all the pollution they are doing, the mangrove swamp is the one that are pumping good air to clean it. And so the mangrove swamp is equally important as the sea and the rivers.
The Bowman Bridge, commonly known as the beginning of where Nikutan starts and where the borough of Nikutan starts and going forward. But our main purpose of being here is, again, this part of trash that have been here for months, perhaps years. And you see around us here, there are people that are living right there. And right after a few feet from there is also the Coast Guard security that manning the place. But the important issue that we want to stress here is the living condition of these people that live in this community. That this trash, this is where it seems to be the holding station for the people in this community. Now, right after here to go to the market area is another part of trash. And we may not be able to cover every area, but this one area alone can serve as a replica for all the other areas that we've been talking about all along throughout the series of our presentation or documentary. But again, this goes to emphasize the livelihood of our people that live in here. And when all the trash gets to decompose, the results can be quite dangerous. Waterborne diseases, airborne diseases, the odor, the smell, the flies, and they enter the food system, the food chain, and they contaminate everything. It's a disaster. It's a crisis. And this thing been going on for years, and there seems not to be any permanent solution to this. But the problem of trash and garbage is an age-old problem that not only border this current administration, but it goes as far as our Helen administration that stayed in power for 12 years, and that receive one of the most aid from our international donors than any other government. But yet, there's no system to maintain, to collect our trash and manage our trash. And so we come here today from the Africa Environmental Watch perspective, and also the coalition of partnership organization, to talk about this issue, to raise the awareness that our people here in Liberia are dying, and there isn't that much of attention, or if there is any attention given, it is not sufficient enough to protect their life. According to WHO and other groups that did the statistics, over 65% of the illnesses that land most of our people in the hospital, they are all environmentally related. This is true, and you can see this. If this stays here for any longer, it causes more problems to our people. And so we come here to appeal, not only to the government of Liberia, but to the communities as well, to our diaspora community, to our donor partners that have been quite good to Liberia. So please, help us. Let's clean Liberia. To our political leaders, those in power and those who are vying for position, be a presidency, senator, representative, or any position. The trash collection should be the problem of everybody. It should be the concern of everybody. It should not only be the concern of the government. Because if we all can put hands together and help, this is what's going to happen to our people. And it is sad to say, but yes, indeed, it is true. We need your help. Please, let this be an appeal to you, to our international community. Again, I'm being repetitive, but it's well for me to be repetitive because the issue are just so enormous and it is killing our people. Please help us. Join us in the effort as we help to clean Liberia and educate our people to kind of get away from the behavioral change or attitude and begin to do something positive. We ourselves need to get involved. Community need to get involved to help clean their trash. And the government have to provide sanitary landfills for our people. For God's sake, let us Chisholmsburg sanitary landfill that been in existence for years now, let it be completed. We don't want, there's no sanitary landfill, an engineering sanitary landfill in Liberia. The Chisholmsburg, something is still standing. I even understand from talking to other people that the Wintown is now operational again. The Wintown has never been the sanitary landfill or an engineering sanitary landfill. So why are we keep using it? The stench here is so heavy. My nose, I'm suffering from it, but I have to do what I have to do.
I take this moment to welcome you to Africa Environmental Watch Consultative Conference on Environmental Awareness and National Development. This is the year of bicentennial, starting this month to next year, 2022 December. The reason for this conference is to educate the community and to bring awareness to the seriousness of the waste management crisis that face Liberia. We will have several presenters, including our keynote speaker, Honorable Nathaniel McGill, and immediately following is our introductory remarks by Professor Wilson Tape, Executive Director of the Environmental Protection Agency of Liberia. Thanks for your attention and enjoy the conference.
We are losing a lot of money. Africa is losing billions of dollars, and Liberia is losing a lot of money. So we came here so that we can help to educate ourselves, our coastal communities, from Maryland County to Rankin Mount County. You know, we've been doing traditional fishing before the world making with boat and all that. So it's affecting our way of life. So I'll go into the legal aspect, the scientific aspect, and then I'll come to a conclusion and give you some photos so that you can see what we are talking about. So please bear with me. So fishing in Liberia, and what is IUU fishing? Are you fishing by, have different definition, right? But I'm using the scientific definition for FAO, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. And we define that to be Food and Agriculture Organization, or the UN FAO define IUU fishing to be the application of run methodology into the ocean. And that can be fishing gear, like capture small fish on the ocean floor, and other protected marine species on the ocean floor that are not allowed to be caught, but are caught, unfortunately. The size of pigeon, because people bring other big pigeon in other protected and other territorial water that are not allowed to use them. For example, in Kampala River, you cannot carry a huge machine. In other territorial water, you cannot carry a huge machine, like very big vessel, right? So they are not allowed. And so those things, they are authorized, right, by the Law of the Sea Convention, by the UN. And it also goes further to say overcatch. That means when you catch more fish that you're supposed to catch by law, or poaching. You know what happened on land also happened into the ocean, right? So for example, when let's just give a practical scenario. In Kenya, Tanzania, you have something we call poaching of the elephant pond, right? The Chinese people are banning it. It's $1 billion trade. But the Kenyan government, the Tanzanian government did not know the importance of that. 8 years back, the Chinese knew. So the Chinese could come to Kenya, Tanzania, Zambia, and give some of those Zoko some money with guns to go and kill the elephant and loot the horns. They were not interested in the flesh. It went some years before the East African community got together, and then they formed a protective unit that is allowed to shoot people on sight when they are caught in the forest. So the same thing applies into the marine environment, right? So we call that also poaching, when the Chinese, European, Asian, other people come with huge vessels to do poaching in the water. You get one?
My honorable guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'll be introducing Dr. Maurice T. Koffa. Dr. Maurice T. Koffa is the director of the African Environmental Watch, and he will be presenting on environmental challenges.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that kind introduction. What I'm going to do, I'm not going to bore you with too many presentations, because the issue we about to discuss, or my presentation, is something that you're quite familiar with. Now, these photos are not meant to kind of discourage you, but solid waste is an issue that every country faces, every nation, even in the great United States. They are trash problems. And the problem of trash in Liberia is not a new problem. It's an age-old problem. But it should be everyone's responsibility to deal with that problem. Because trash, if left unattended, the consequences could be severe. But now that the president has put us at that level, central level of global attention, what are we to do to highlight the issue that he raised? The global community, thank you, you've been nice, but you haven't been nice, I'm paraphrasing. You haven't been nice enough, because we absorb all of the contaminants from you, and you're giving us very little. You're giving us very little to deal with the situation. Liberia, our hectare of forest is considered as the carbon sponge. It's like you take a sponge and you put it in the water, it will suck all that water, and that's how our forests receive all the emissions that trap into the atmosphere. The whole of Africa, 54 countries in Africa, we contribute less than 4% of the total greenhouse gas that trap into the atmosphere. But of that 4%, South Africa and Nigeria contribute 90%. So if you do the math, well, like where it's contributed by the banner 52 countries, it's quite negligible. And we are impacted. We are facing scarcity of many issues. Our raining pattern have changed. There's a lot of flooding going on. Even this little rain that came down yesterday, some of the community are flooded. There are plenty of issues that are happening because the global community have not given attention, especially to Liberia and many other countries. But now the president has put it on the pedestal. I'm a thing wasting time because I think their ranking was all over in that speech. But that was good. I mean, when the man does good, you got to tell him he did well. And let us press on it so that the global community will get to understand that we are ready to make a change. We are ready to transition. But now that we are at this point, what are we doing in our own backyard? We are specifically addressing the issue of garbage, but there are many other environmental issues. Many other environmental issues. But thank God to EPA. Since the inception of EPA, the issue of EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment, has taken a different and a rewarding trend. Corn industry now are at least preparing EIA and other environmental management processes before they are given permits. Is EPA doing great? Yes, they are. Is it enough? No. More needs to be done. But thank God we've been having leaders that have given attention to it. And they can do more if only the budget for that agency is increased. Unfortunately, EPA have suffered in the hands of most of our leaders. It's not the administration alone, but our lead administration is trying to look at the budget to increase it. But previous administration, they just played lip service to the agency. Or agency of this magnitude that's supposed to be representing all the 15 counties, and some of the bigger counties are supposed to have 3 or 2 regional offices. Their budget is less than $1 million. That's not enough money. My agency that I work for in the United States, our budget over $1 billion. I'm not kidding you. My department alone generates over $500 million a year. Just from fees. You know, for those who did respect the environmental law, we fine them. And when we fine you, no government will come here and intervene. You will pay. If you don't pay, we either close down your business, or we close down your shop, or we close down your company. That's how stringent we are. But EPA hands is tied. And I understand. But we cannot continue to live in this kind of crisis only because it impacts your health and it impacts my health. The air we breathe is the same air the president breathes. When the air is contaminated, we all suffer the respiratory consequences. When the water we drink is not safe, we all face the consequences. Only those who perhaps have the kind of resources can seek medical checkup out of the country. But we must go beyond that. We must work together. And AEW purpose of coming is not to seek any gratitude in any form or shape. But since our inception and since the inception of EPA, we've always been friends with the agency. And that's why we are here. We want to help our brother to put EPA on a path. We want to advocate for you in the international realm to say, look, this agency is trying the best, but how can you help us to do more? But what I say, we must first of all own our own problem. We must not take our problem and hide behind and go out there and beg people. They will not look at you. Tell them, look, I have this problem, I've been trying, but I have some shortcomings. How can you be of help to me? And definitely some of them. We got some good and very kind donors who answer to our call. But if we continue to pretend that nothing is happening, obviously there will be donor fatigue. And that's what has been happening. And like the executive director said, those that left before he came, he talked about the many successes they have had. Of recent is not Blama. And he said here that he will capitalize on what that did. That agency have made a lot of improvement. But the issue of solid waste must be a consolidated and comprehensive plan of action developed. It has to be sustainable. I'll give you an example. Mary Bro is a hard-working, oriented individual. If you got action for her to implement, she will implement it. But is it sustainable? From all we have learned, no, it's not sustainable. When she was mayor, she was trying her best to clean Moravia. But when she left, what happened? They tried, even got worse. So that tells you that something is wrong. When you go on Central Street and see the garbage all over the place. When you go on Gilly Street, you see the garbage. You go Beaumont Bridge. I mean, everywhere you go, you see part of trash. And every effort she has made is only touching on the peripheral. And it's not having an impact. Doesn't that tell you that something is not working? It's simple. If you do your own research, you'll find out. You don't even have to go into detail. Something is not working. And what is not working is a sustainability concept. That sustainability concept must be followed by enforcement. Any law, Liberia got one of the best laws in the EPA. At least I know about the EPA, so I'm talking about the EPA. And I know other agencies. Liberia got some very good writers who prepare our laws and what have you. But one thing that our laws are lacking is enforceability. Any law that is not enforceable is a toothless bulldog. This has to resonate with us. And our government officials have to understand, because our system of government is prepared in a way that our lawmakers and the top of our country are the ones that make the decision and the policy, and they are the ones that help us to make the policy right. Something is wrong. There are many problems that are wrong. And you know them, and I too know them. But we can't give up. If the president takes a step to help us clean our own environment, then double our effort and help to clean. It's a consolidated effort. Now, if the government does not do what it ought to do, then of course some of us can come and talk. But the blame should not only lie with them, it should be with us too. Let's talk about increasing EPA budget. Let's talk about giving Murray City Corporation the appropriate logistics. Let's talk about Pittsburgh City Corporation the necessary logistics. The other municipalities, let's also equip them. But there must be a national master plan. Please hear me. There must be a national action plan that is not only written in blue and white, but it must have a sustainable concept. That the institution must not be built around an individual, but it must be built around that institution, that it doesn't matter who serves in that capacity. Whenever they leave and anybody else come in, they should be able to carry on the same process so we can keep our environment clean. Dirty environment does not encourage businesses. It drives businesses alone. It drives businesses alone. Now we have the bicentennial coming. I'll be coming back here in May. I'm bringing delegation from the United States, because I also serve as president of the Liberia and Liberia sister relationship. And I'll be coming here in May and bringing, Black American who wants to come. Many of them go to Ghana now, where they been their retirement home. Why they can't come to Liberia? Because they're scared. The news out there, Liberia is filthy. Liberia is this, Liberia is that. But we're trying to encourage them. And I'll be bringing them. But when I'm bringing them, I want to make sure that the place is at least clean. We have opportunities. Sometimes you're in a car driving, you see somebody in the other car, throw the plastic bag, off the window. When they eat, they get trash, put the trash on the street. How can you live like that? You think you're doing it to the government? You're doing it to yourself. The last time I lived somewhere around a Banja area, they tried to build an electrical plant down there. Somebody climbed in the tree and wanted to bomb the machine. I mean, who in a rightful mind would want to do something like that? You don't have electricity. The government is trying to provide something to you, and you want to destroy it. Something is just not right. It goes to the same thing we're talking about, behavioral change communication. People got to understand. People got to understand. And equally so, we must also impress on the government that you have a responsibility too. That you are the father and the mother of the home. When the child you're raising, you have the right to tell them what is good for them. And when they try to do something wrong, there should be some punitive action. And you understand me? It's the same way. That same methodology is applied to us. But the last time, I one of those who recommended that point 4, and before the EPA executive, I would say it. No amount of money or coastal erosion amount of money you will spend to save West Point. I can tell you that much from my own environmental experience. You can't. Well, West Point has reached an impasse. If you got $4 million or $10 million, take that money and build about 90 units somewhere, or wherever that amount of money is, because to build 1 unit for something that will cost you between $15,000 to $20,000. If you take that millions of dollars and build units for every place, you can use that place for recreation, for tourists. Any investment for coastal erosion, it will not save West Point. And there's no offense to you, Mr. Executive Director, but that's the truth, I'm telling you. You know? So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure, and I thank you so much.
Africa.
Thank you very much.
But I want to say thank you very much on behalf of the EPA for this conference. One of the things I know is that I am not an environmentalist. Prior to 13 months ago, I saw that little green building on Tottenham Boulevard as just another structure. Nothing more to it. And the interesting thing is, that is a view shared by a lot of people, and mostly policymakers. But when I went in and I saw what this institution means to this country and what it is able to do, the potential, and I look at the quality and caliber of people it has, then I look back at the work that had been done by people who were there before, I got comforted that yes, we can build on it. And this is what we are doing. So I want to thank all of my predecessors, including, I mean, since the institution was formed, now Mr. Blama is the immediate predecessor for all the work that has been done. And let me say that the EPA is now using that strong foundation to solidify that foundation so that what it lacks in terms of policy recognition, we can be able to put that in place. And I can say my gratitude to the president who jumped at it. We have not had that level of exposure in this country. And even when we went to Glasgow, what we carried to Glasgow and what he articulated has now it has resonated throughout the world. And we want to say that EPA is the future of this country. And in order for us to do better, we have taken the decision to work very closely with AEW. A year ago, I met AEW. I was still fresh. I know my young brother Koffa, then I met BK. When I saw BK Rouse, I said, who's the guy? In this kind of position, only to find out it's a young man that I knew decades back. Congratulations, we are proud of you. We'll work with you. We will work with you because in order for us to do what we are doing better, we have to lean on the professionals, people who have the core competence. And we have determined that AEW can provide that support. so we'll work together. This conference is something that we will continue to look forward to, because the country is changing when we talk about the environment. And in fact, what we try to do at EPA now is to link the environment to everybody's daily living. We believe that if we can link the environment to how you live every day, then you will grasp onto that. The good thing about it, Mr. Blama and the people before me, they've done a good job with awareness. They've done a good job with awareness. Are we there yet? No, we are not there yet, but we are making the necessary efforts to get there. And in order for us to get there, we have to make sure that the people that we work with understand what the environment is. Interesting thing, we've got the EPA, since its founding, at least $600–700 million has been generated by its work. But none of this, in fact, almost all of this was managed by sister institutions. We met a regime that was trying to give EPA that capacity to manage its own affair. We are working on it. But another strange thing is less than 2% of that money went to awareness. And for the background I come from, it's like you are looking for gold or you're looking for oil, and you found oil, or you're looking for gasoline to fuel your truck. You found the gasoline and you put it in a container. But then you couldn't pay $5 for the tap. So you put leaves and it evaporated. If the issue of the environment must be pursued, then the people who are at the bottom of the echelon must be to understand and relate it to the living. And so that's why we will put more emphasis on awareness. I'm coming from this direction because conference of this nature is critical. I sat here for the last few minutes and I saw those pictures. Somebody said they are disgusting, but they are the fact. They are the fact. They are facts. So we have to work together, and in order for us to do that, a lot of resources need to go there. Well, I can say here that the president has taken a keen interest in the environment, the whole issue of climate change. And that in our view is beginning to make things to change. And it will change. Things will work better. But we'll continue to work with you. We want to thank you for this conference. Don't mind the number of people who are here. Success has a better beginning, and it is usually the very few who go across that, but the moment it crosses that bridge, they will find relatives. The people who didn't come with, they will find relatives in the success, they will find friends who were here before. So don't mind the size of the number of people, but look at the willingness of the institutions to work with you. Waste is a big problem. I told somebody this issue of waste, our people must now begin to think about something that I found in EPA called polluters pay principle. That's another thing. PPP in where I come from, that's a different thing. But at some point in time, we have to consider that if we make dirt, you have to pay for it. If you pollute, you must pay. If you produce dirt, you got to pay somebody to remove it. And it's not something you can politicize. It's simple. And we think the whole issue of waste management, you guys are the experts at it. I think when we work together, we can make an improvement, and this issue of the environment can be improved so that we can have a better country. Thank you very much for this gathering. Thank you for this conference, and I hope that you will continue to come. Thank you very much.
The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not go. I said we tired with their lies. We tired with their promises that led us to a lot of damages. We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now you need to deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrate us. So why does you lie? Why does you steal? Why does you allow the citizens to beef? You see, we just tell you that why we vote.